Muse, and we are back with another video. So today's video, I actually wanted to talk about the topic privilege, right? What does it mean to be privileged? Now, the reason why I want to examine this is because I'm also a mindset coach, right? So in my many different roles as, therapist, customer service manager, teacher, tutor, like all those different roles, right? Behavior specialist, like all my different roles, right? And actually even just growing up and going through a stage in which I was very like shy or quiet, right? So one thing though, even though I was shy and quiet, I wasn't stupid, right? And so I became extremely observant, on top of me, in a sense, being intuitive, like somehow being able to kind of, when you study patterns, but also, when you're tapped into your environment, like an awareness, utilizing your five senses, and even senses in which I would say can be given to you, such as what we see in the Bible, gifts, right? Okay, so I want to talk about, the topic privilege, right? Now, in one of my other videos, when I address a particular individual, and this particular individual's name is Jasmine A. Gibbs, who is an attorney connected to the United States Department of Education, specifically District 11. Okay, District 11 encompasses it's like the DC area. It also encompasses like the state of Virginia, which is where Liberty University is located. Okay, now continuing on, I wanted to highlight Jasmine's mindset, because she is what you would consider a privileged individual. Well, why do I make this claim, Ashley? Well, the reason as to why I make this claim is because based off the facts, right? And I can go through the facts once again for you very quickly, and then I will continue to elaborate how this individual is considered and would have the mindset, right, of a person who is labeled privileged. And I'm using her as an example because I think the best way to learn is through real life examples, right? And through my experience, but also to shed light on a person, again, who's incompetent, and to bring awareness, right? And to also highlight the actual experience, which a person like her may not realize exists. But see, this is the difference, right? The struggle, which a person like Anton Daniels, who is a popular YouTube individual, some reason appears on Fox News, and he labels himself as $1 Million Mindset, and he's a melanated being. He's has darker skin like myself, and in America people look at him and call him black. Okay, now the issue with that, and why it's important that we monitor who it is that we're listening to, right? And we educate ourselves, right? So what I'm talking about is, when it comes to your health, when it comes to your freedom, when it comes to love, right? You have to make sure that beyond anybody on this planet, you're the one willing to fight for these things on your behalf. Because, for example, Jasmine A. Gibbs, the United States Department of Education civil rights attorney, right? She doesn't have the competency to fulfill her roles. As a matter of fact, she doesn't have the ability to critically think, and let alone read. Why do I say these things? Okay, I'm going to show you the receipts, but I want to shed light on a conversation I had with her. So my last email that I received, which I showed you guys in the last video, please go and watch that. Okay, I received an email from a person from the United States Department of Education named Noga. Now, when I called Noga, mind you, she misspelled my name. And mind you, I had read the letter and I read it so quickly, and I just knew that this was full of fluff, right? Another made up story with inaccurate information, right? And the hypocrisy. Because what happened was, I did an investigation with Liberty University regarding a teacher, for those who don't know, a teacher grading me outside the rubric that he created. But actually he wasn't grading me outside the rubric. He contradicted the rubric. Mind you, and I had evidence, which I show you guys in the video, right? This teacher is the same teacher that said he wrote the course, right? And he knows he's been teaching this course for how many years, and he knows exactly what he's looking for. But if you look at his logic, right? The reason why we have a rubric is so that students know what's expected. So yeah, there may be some times, especially when it comes to creative things, where a teacher may grade you outside the rubric. But when it comes to particular things, such as when we're writing a discussion and you're asking for us to talk about areas of improvement, agreement, disagreement, as well as summarize, right? And all the students are doing that, right? Or they're supposed to be doing that, right? Because that's what I did in week 1. It's the same rubric, right? Okay. But what I'm saying is, when I do those things and then your feedback says the opposite, okay, let's take a look at it, and then we're going to jump into the topic of privilege, okay? And to be honest with you, Yale University, who is coming out with a course, or just released a course about, like Black culture, which they created a course surrounding Beyonce, right? And for those who don't believe me, let's see, Yale course Beyonce. Okay, let's start here, and then I'll take you guys through it. Okay, let's go. Okay, so as you can see, it says Queen Bee and Yale, the Ivy League university, is set to offer a course on Beyonce and her legacy. Now, they're highlighting, her achievements, and I think it's great to give her praise. But my whole issue is, I think there are things that would be more helpful to the world and impact the world, because to be honest with you, this person to me does not represent Black culture, okay? Because she's an entertainer, okay? Now, what do I mean by that? Entertainers pretty much get paid to say and do what whoever the person that's writing their check does, right? Meaning, and then also the way that they present themselves, right? They have certain designers, right? They may get certain work done, and it's all to sell an image. Now, that people want to be able to control and sell an image, which is why, I know some people talk about how a lot of celebrities look like other celebrities that came before and after them. And the reason as to why that is because they already know that they like the public likes that person. It's really easy to recreate this person. Therefore, pretty much our cow is always going to be there. Okay, our cash cow is always going to be there. So what I'm saying is, when you decorate a person, right, and you say that this is Black culture, but yet it's not really Black culture, it's manufactured culture, that's where the confusion comes into place. Because to be honest with you, this woman does not represent me and my culture. Okay. So that's the facts. Now, I have more helpful, I believe, course that they should have offered was something about empathy, right? And what it means to be a privileged individual. I think that would help move our society forward, right? And offer a shift in mindset and what people would call enlightenment, okay? Which is something similar to just, a new way of perceiving life that, in a sense, shifts the paradigm. Okay. Now, I wanted to talk about privilege, but first let me show you a couple things. So going back to what happened, okay, now this is again on the Canvas website, and I emailed my teacher regarding an assignment. All right. I start off, good morning. I changed my picture because I'm still in class, so I had to change my picture to, protect my identity, because I know these people are watching my videos. As a matter of fact, Liberty University, I want to know why I can't go on Liberty University. Let's see, Liberty University. Sorry. And I already made a video about this, okay? But I just wanted, oh, I see now that they have it. Or let's see. So let me see if they show you. Okay, here we go. So this is the business faculty and staff at Liberty University, right? And I showed you how I was able to find, my other professor, okay? Now, there is nowhere on here where I find my last professor whom I had this issue with, who claims, to have 3 theology degrees. See, this is my last professor, right? And also wrote this course. There is nowhere is he on this website. And that's what leads me to my question, which is, who is this individual? Because why is it that Dr. Danley can do research on the students? Mind you, I feel like it's a bit interesting because on his LinkedIn account, right, it also says that he's an executive director of global political research. Okay. And not only that, he not that long ago got a certificate to be able to do social and behavioral, I don't know if it was research or something like that, but I just think that this man has demonstrated behavior that I don't believe he should be utilizing and having that. Meaning he should not be able to be conducting research on his students because he doesn't understand boundaries, informed consent, or privacy. Okay. And I say that because after the investigation at Liberty University closes, he sends me a picture of one of his former African-American female students, and says, you may find this interesting. Okay. Insinuating that he did background research. But anyways, continuing on. So I want to show you the first email. Oh, sorry. Actually, I think, okay, let's go right here. So this was the first email, okay? And I did send him 2 attachments, as well as, again, on the top, and then see what his response is. And he says, you inadvertently put your continuation in the reply section. I suggest you delete your post in the reply section and wait until the reply is due. Okay, so my reply is supposed to go in the reply section, sir. And why do I need to delete it and wait till it's due? Okay. And I also sent it again to him here. Okay. Now, understand this is the evidence that I had sent. This is what the grade book looked like. Okay. Summary, and you can see the reply, and that's the student. And that's why he gave me a 0 right there and a 0. But again, what does the reply say? Okay. A thorough review of students' thread indicates areas of agreement, disagreement, and improvement. The reply has a clear logical flow, right? But to get the most points, right, you want to say summarize, indicate areas of agreement, disagreement, summarize findings, indicating areas of agreement, disagreement, and improvement, responds well, organized, easy to flow, right? So you're supposed to summarize, indicate areas of agreement, disagreement, and improvement, right? Reply. Okay, so this was just a picture that I had sent as proof because this man had proof that, this is a grade book, as well as, like I showed you guys in the other video, that if he just logged into the chat, he would also see it there, right? And everybody knows that in order to respond to a classmate, you have to respond to their original posts, right? Okay. Now, this is what, so he wanted me to delete it. So then he says, that's okay. Forget deleting it and just do the proper reply by the end of the week's grading. Okay, you guys, well, let's go look at what was his reasoning for giving me, what was his feedback, all right? This is a thing in question. He gave me full points for, like I said, the initial. I want to show you what his feedback was. Okay, actually, let me go to the assignment. So the teacher still did not change my grade. Okay, that's actual Chapman. But even as you see, people are replying, right, to each other. So like you see, this is mine, someone replied to me, right? You see how this is a student and someone replied to them. So he wanted me to pretty much reply to my own self, okay? Because let's see if this person replied to their own self. Okay, yeah, that person did not reply to their own self. Okay, anyway, but let me go to his feedback. I hear. It says, Ashley, you do not have a reply. You did a continuation assignment, which again, we're supposed to write a summary. Furthermore, you cannot reply to yourself, which is a lie. I replied to someone else, and I sent him a picture twice. You must reply to another student in your class and do so with a kind, respectful greeting, which is not indicated in the rubric. Mind you, I use a neutral response greeting, I use a neutral response when talking to the person that I was replying to, because like I said, I don't know their gender pronouns and all of those things, right? And then he says, moreover, the reply must respond to what the other student wrote in the narrative first post, which I did. And it says you have to summarize it. And then it says, and then this is what he said, you may agree or disagree with what the student said. That's not what the rubric said, which you say that you wrote, okay? And then he says, but give a logical and coherent response. If you're not sure, read someone else's. Okay, so that's what he says. Now, I want to show you something too. So this is what I want you guys to see. Many degrees regarding theology. But anyway, let's go right here. Hi, Ashley. Please reload and resubmit the assignment that you're referring to, as I do not see what you were talking about. Now, yes, he did, because he saw my grade. He saw it. I showed you the picture, and he wants me to write things that are contradict his rubric, okay? Anyways, continuing on, that you were referring to had no reference to anyone and the required reading that you were responding to. Now, if he knows that if he did not see my reply, why is he saying that there was no reference, right? And it didn't have a greeting. Come on, you see how these people talk? Furthermore, listen to this. Furthermore, when I graded your submission, the reply that you are referring to had no reference. So you see what I'm saying? He's saying that he didn't see it, but now he's saying that he saw one, but yet it didn't have the required greeting, which the required greeting is not indicated in the rubric. Mind you, the information that he wants me to write also contradicts the rubric, which that would have scored me, I wouldn't have gotten the points, but even if I follow the rules, you see how he scored me a 0. Anyway, it says, all I read, as I said before, essentially was a continuation of your first narrative. No, it was not. And as I said, this teacher doesn't even know his own rubric that he writes, right? Or what he's teaching. It says, furthermore, I have been teaching the same class for years, so I have no bone to pick with you. Moreover, I know exactly what I'm looking for in addition to the requirements, because I am the one who wrote them. Once again, if I'm mistaken, I will give you credit for the reply, but I need to see the same reply that you were referring to. Why is he saying that he saw the reply, but then he's saying that, you see what I'm talking about, you guys? And this is what I'm talking about, the hypocrisy. This man is so back and forth. So he's saying that he saw a reply, right? But then he's saying the reply that he saw, it had no reference to anyone or the required greeting that you're responding to. All I read was a continuation. Then he says to repost the same reply that I did before, but yet that reply that he did not see, or that he did see, did not have the required greeting. But yet the required greeting is not required. And on top of that, what I posted contradicts what he is saying that he's looking for. But what I posted, it directly matches the rubric. And you see what I'm talking about? This guy is all confused. Okay? Continuing on. I need to see the same reply. So he wants me to put the same reply, yet the same reply is what he gave me a 0. And yet I followed the directions to the T, the rubric, and he's giving me other information that contradict it. Okay, anyways, continue on. Therefore, resubmit the reply, as students have done this numerous times before, so I can look at it again in the discussion board form, not a download or attachment, as I cannot grade it properly, right? Mind you, Liberty University, when they came back, they were saying that I should have sent attachment, which I showed you that I sent that twice. As a matter of fact, that was my first email to him, right? Now, as you can see, this man has changed his answer, okay? so many times. And I don't have to continue talking about that because I believe that you can follow that. And he's saying, finally, going back and forth solves nothing. Only ongoing confusion, discord. So please do as I ask. And when I see it as in, and when I see it as is required in the instructions, then of course, you see what I'm saying? Required in the instruction. Now, who followed the instructions? Me or him? Of course, I did. That's what I'm saying. What rubric are you following in your head? And why are you all over the place? Because this email alone, right? We all sat here and witnessed this man's confusion. And this is why I say this woman, right, Jasmine Gibbs, is a privileged woman. Because, let me see, I think I found, and that's why I say Jasmine Gibbs, the civil rights attorney, right, which is this one. Let's see, I'm trying to see if I can go to the images. This woman is called privilege. Because when I talked on the phone, she told me, let me see if I can get a better view. This woman right there, the Florida bar one, okay? This woman right here, right, whom I made videos about, is privileged. Now, let's look up what does privilege mean. To be privileged means to have unearned advantages or special rights that most people do not have, often due to factors like race, gender, socioeconomic status, or ability, giving you a better chance in life than others without those advantages, right? So what do I mean by that? And it says unearned, right? A key aspect of privilege is that it is not something you actively worked for or earned, but rather a benefit given to you based on your identity within a social group. Okay. Now, I'm going to say the reason why, let me make sure I'm still recording. Yeah. Okay. So the reason why I say privilege is because Jasmine, once Noga got me on the phone and I asked Noga and I pretty much called her out on, misspelling my name as well as having the letter say disability discrimination, as well as Jasmine Gibbs being the officer who was already in question, who I already said was incompetent because she made up a completely different story. See, her role and her job was to investigate the facts, which were what I said and what Liberty University said. Peter Baker, who was the investigation officer. Okay, now I already showed you what Peter said and how I disproved that within two sentences. Okay, she came up with a completely different story. And the reason why I say she's privileged is because, let me make sure I'm recording. Okay, cool. The reason why I say privilege is because when I got on the phone with her, mind you, Noga had no idea what this case was about. She said pretty much all she was doing was forwarding me the email. That's why she three-way called Jasmine. When I finally got Jasmine on the phone, and I asked, okay, what is the criteria for discrimination? And she explained discrimination. And I explained to her the rubric, how the teacher is the person that wrote the rubric and the course and has been teaching it for many years. And he grades me outside of it, but yet he utilizes that same rubric for other students to follow. On top of him asking me to delete my response, right? And wait till it's due. I can post whenever I feel like it. And he did change his response, but the issue with it was that he gave me incorrect instructions on how to resubmit the assignment, meaning he wanted me to reply under my own comment. Mind you, I just showed you his email where he talks about how he didn't see my response, but then he saw my response. I need to repost my response. I need to include it with the required greeting. The one that he saw didn't have the required greeting, but on top of that, I just need to repost that. Mind you, that same response that I followed to the T, he gave me a 0 for. And then he says that I need to follow the instructions. The instructions are what's in the rubric. He's not following the instructions. That's why I said it's privilege, because for you to then get on the phone and then tell me that it's okay for him to contradict the rubric and it's okay for him to investigate me knowing, right, this professor that says, do you know who Dr. Danley is? Because I can't find him on Liberty University. And as a PhD student who's paying all this money, I should be able to look up his background and know who this man is, because clearly he cannot read. Clearly he is blind. Okay? And there you have an issue too, because you and Amber don't utilize logic or critical thinking skills. It's incompetence. That's why I said, so this is what privilege is. See, of course you would sit there and tell me that a teacher can grade me outside the rubric because maybe that's your experience. See, you don't have to go by the rubric, honey. You can do whatever you do. Come up with a story and still pass. See, you think you have your way, honey. You guys are not the only people that represent the truth or that stands on justice, honey. And as a matter of fact, I don't want your help because I see that you're incompetent. Noga, why would Noga send me an email that she knows nothing about with incorrect information? How does she get involved? Incompetent. You know, Amber Sadler, incompetent. District 11, what is going on? And that's why you have New York Times writing, you know, the worst scandal in America, higher education isn't in the Ivy League, right? Or sorry, higher education isn't in the Ivy League, right? And then it talks about how, again, you guys have an issue with covering up sexual abuse and sexual harassment. And it says, and use its strict code of conduct, the Liberty Way, against victims of sex abuse. And this is what I'm talking about. See, Amber Sadler and Jasmine Gibbs should be fully held responsible for their involvement. Because, see, the same way that they're covering up this when I have nothing but facts, and this is what you call, again, for people who do not know, because here you have Jasmine on the phone telling me that's not discrimination. Honey, you don't know what discrimination is. You do not know. You, in fact, are a person who is privileged. That's why you can be on the phone. The teacher can contradict the rubric and look you up. Yet on his LinkedIn, which I showed you guys, he's an executive director of global political research, meaning this person can be researching me through a database, potentially, right? But yet he doesn't understand informed consent, privacy, and all of those things. And he's a teacher. On top of him recently getting a social and behavioral research license or certificate or whatever, which I showed you guys in the last video. See, all of these things are red flags, Jasmine and Amber. But see, you guys don't care because there must be something in it for you. And that's why I'm going to continue to make these videos to expose District 11, United States Department of Education, because now I see why you guys may be getting defunded or are getting defunded, because you guys do not have the best interest of the students at all. As a matter of fact, again, I keep preaching about the ASWB and their clinical social exam, which shows systematic racism. I mean, they had the audacity to post those results and give them to the public. 84% Caucasians pass that test and only 45% Black African Americans pass that test. And then you have mindsets like this, like Jasmine's, who are privileged, and that Yale wants to turn around and offer a course about Black culture. Beyonce. Hypocrisy.